Jones is going to show you just how. And in my second segment, after I finish speaking with Veleda Jones, we're going to be speaking with our queen. She happens to be one of my staff, and she happened to fill in, and I'm so glad. I love her. Miss Lakeisha Wilson is here tonight, and I'm so thankful for her. And she's going to be speaking with me, and we're going to be talking about the topic of gun violence. So if you just hold on, coming to you live, say hi, say hello.
Hey, everybody.
I'm so glad to have Veleda Jones with me. So
happy to be here.
Great. So when everybody's ready, when we're ready, we start. Hello, hi, welcome to the Veleda Spellman Show. And tonight I have Veleda Jones, and she has a great new book called The Parent Agent. And this book is going to further help our parents in grappling and trying to get the understanding and helping their kids on the road to success, which is college. She has been promoting this book, and I happened to see a lot of the promotions on Facebook. She's in Barnes & Nobles. And just to give you a little background about her, Veleda is an experienced educator with over 20 years of experience. Wow. Her extensive knowledge of higher education selection process has helped hundreds of students transition. That is absolutely amazing. Hundreds of students, and the fact that you're visiting these college campuses, meaning that you have a lot of hands-on, and that you're not just advertising or you're just selling a book, that you're actually living the book because you're out there and you're canvassing, and you're also trying to get awareness out there to our young people. Absolutely. And that is one of the reasons why I do have you here. I admire you. I admire your venture and what you're doing. And I thank you for coming on this evening.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
So excited to be here, so thank you.
Good. Veleda hosts a TV and radio show. Wow, you do a lot. How do you fit that all in? She obtained her bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Massachusetts and a master's in secondary education from Hofstra University, where our last debate took place.
That's right.
Yeah. Speaking of debate, make sure you go out there and you vote. I can't tell you who or who not to vote for, but make sure that you get out there and vote because all your votes count. Mm-hmm. And you have a master's in educational leadership. So without further ado, I bring you Veleda Jones, and she's going to be speaking about her book, The Parent Agent. Welcome and thank you for coming tonight. In what I've read so far, you're a very, very remarkable woman. Can you tell me just a little bit about why is it that you've decided to write this particular book? With everybody writing about their lives and they're writing different memoirs, why is it that you've chosen to write about this particular topic of college?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'm excited to be here. I've been watching you and all the things that you're doing, and you make me proud because what you're doing is just inspirational and reaching all these queens, and I'm just so excited to be in your presence, so thank you very much. So why did I write the book? I've been an educator, as you said, for over 20 years, and I was a business teacher, I was a guidance counselor, and now I'm an administrator at the district level. And I've been doing that for the past 12 years. In that time frame, my husband and myself, we have children. We have and we've been through. And one of the things that I kind of discovered and learned was that the process doesn't start when they're in high school. It starts when they're in elementary school to get them in that mindset that education is something that they need to really strive for and continue to be successful in life. So the reason I wrote the book was because I had the personal experience with our own children, and then I had that professional knowledge as well. And I like to share information, and I was at a point where I said, I'm holding this information. I mean, I share it with, where I work and with my colleagues and with the parents and the students, but I wanted to get it out to more people because I find a lot of people really don't know what the college process is. So I wanted to get that out to more people so they can benefit from my experience as a parent and as a professional helping children get into college.
Wow, absolutely remarkable. And how unselfish of you, because in these days and age, these times, parents and students are looking to the guidance counselors, and with you offering this extra access to people other than the schools and being so unselfish and not saying, hey, my kids went to college and that's it. I put this, 24-year-old and this 20-year-old through college. I don't have time to be worried about nobody else and their kids. But yet and still you're being so unselfish and you're expanding your knowledge of what it takes to be, to get your kid into college. And I really, really applaud you for that. Not many people are doing that.
Thank you. You know, one of the things, as one of the parts of the jobs that I do in my day-to-day is reach out to parents and share information with them and run workshops and different things just to help them through that process. So why I got the idea of writing the book is I was giving an 11th grade workshop. It was 11th grade students and parents, and during that workshop I was explaining to them how they're an agent for their child. Just like a sports agent is an agent for an athlete. They're finding the opportunities for those athletes, and then the athletes are the ones that have to carry it out. A parent is very similar. Students or children aren't going to look for those opportunities. They might not have the skills to be able to do that. So the parents, they look for opportunities. They look to put their students and they look to position their children in the right places so they can go to where they want to go. So that's where the concept of the parent agent, came into play.
Why is early planning imperative in the college process? Why do you feel that it's early, that we should be starting out and not when they get to, their junior year of high school and next thing you know, you're like, what are your plans or what do you want to be when you grow up?
Right. I'm a firm believer, and just as you said, that early planning is so imperative. We started with our children when they were in elementary school. Now, I don't mean like we said, okay, we're going to visit a college campus because you want to major in business. It wasn't that kind of conversation. It was more of getting them prepared academically. So some of the things that we did with them was we let the teachers that they had in elementary school know who's sitting in front of them. So we would write letters to our and we said, our child likes math, our child likes reading. So if our son, for example, and I'm going to put him out there, he's the kind of student who might look out the window and you don't think he's listening to what you're saying, but he's actually retaining everything that you're saying. So a teacher needs to know that, because if they don't know that, they'll just think that he's not paying attention. So we wanted to give the teachers the information that we knew about our children to help them academically. And so that goes into knowing your child. So we were big believers on knowing who our children are, paying attention to what they like, paying attention to what they didn't like. Certain actions that we knew when our daughter wasn't being 100% truthful, she had her tell signs. We knew that. So we really spent a lot of time getting to know who our children were, giving them the opportunity to express themselves. And in that, it really opened a lot of doors for them, because we placed them in different activities and they let us know, I don't like this or I like this. And when they found something that really stuck, we would encourage that and foster that. And that has to do with college planning or post-secondary education, because you're getting to know them, they're getting to know themselves, and then you can position them in the right places, to grow as an individual and academically be successful as well. So that's why that early planning is so important. Another thing that we did, I was talking about the college campuses. I visited hundreds of college campuses. Even if you're, not a counselor, that's something, guidance counselors love to be on college campuses. It gets us excited. But we would put them, I encourage parents to have their children go to a basketball game, a football game, just a performance at a college, just so they get that feeling of it, so they can maybe picture themselves there in the future. And you could start that in elementary school. So it's that mindset,
What do you say to the parents that they have their child's success, their road to success set up? Maybe their child wants to be a chef, but no, we wanted you to be a lawyer. Right. What do you say to those types of parents that are telling their kids, no, it was our dream for you to be a lawyer, and here you're telling us you want to be a chef or you want to be a rap artist. That's not the dream that we had for you. Right. What do you say to those parents that maybe feel like they've been let down by their children because they're not doing what they had always dreamed of the kids to do?
I see a lot of people that are unhappy in what they're doing in life. And I would just stress to the parents, yeah, you want your child to make a living, you want them to be able to support themselves, but your dream is not necessarily their dream. And in knowing who your children are at an early age, you shouldn't set yourself up for that failure because you know who they are. You know what they like. You know what they gravitate toward. Our son majored in film. And a lot of people would say, well, he majored in film. What kind of job is he going to get in that particular area? This is something he was passionate about since he was 6 years old. So I didn't feel it was my job to tell him, no, you can't pursue this. I encouraged him and I set him up in different programs so he would have a substantial resume when he applies to college and then when he gets out of college to get that job. And he works in his field. Our daughter's a journalism major. Again, it's not a science. Our children wouldn't have been happy in a science field. That's just not who they are. Right. So I think when you push a child to do things that you might think is your dream and not theirs, I think you set them up for, for not the best situation. And you want to see them be successful, but you also want to see them thrive in something that they're really good at.
Right. I think that's so important. There are so many kids out there that don't feel like they're going to match up or that they are college material. They may be out there feeling like, I'm not, college is not going to do anything for me, or, I'll never make it. What would you say to those kids that are out there that are doubting themselves or doubting the college process, to them having a better life or maybe having a better income, maybe feel, well, I went through my 12 years. Why should I go through 2 more? Why should I go through 4 more?
Right. College isn't, I will tell them this, college isn't for everyone. We like to push college, but it's not for everyone. And that goes back to knowing who you are. So a child who says, well, college isn't for me, college might not be for you, but you have to have a post-secondary plan, whether it be a trade or some other type of certification that you can get in a particular area. You have to further your education in some way, but I think the trick is finding out what that might be. But college isn't for everyone, but there are opportunities for you to get some type of post-secondary education beyond high school that can set you up to be able to sustain yourself. And I think that's important. And another thing that I would tell students is internships are very important. A lot of schools have internship programs that students can take advantage of in 11th and 12th grade, and that's something that they should ask their guidance counselor about and get involved in 11th and 12th grade to find out what they like and what they don't like as well. So internships are a very good way for students to kind of figure it out.
Wow. Okay, so how do you get your child into the best college? There's so many different colleges offering so many different things. They're promising so many different things. How would I or someone else as a parent narrow it down to make sure they're making the best choice for their child?
Right. That is a workshop in itself, how to really pick the best college for your child. Because there's no best college in general. There's a best college for your child because it meets all the criteria that you're looking for. So, for example, your child doesn't like the city. They don't like being in an urban area. They don't like the hustle and bustle. So you're going to take those schools off the table because they can't really navigate that space. So you want to stick to maybe a suburban or a rural school. And the opposite is true. I knew our son needed to be in an environment that was more engaging and where he could be in a city and he could handle it. He knew the subway. He was comfortable with that. That was a school that we, looked at for him. He may not have been happy in a rural school where there's nothing really to do but the campus. So I think those things are important as well. And then I'm a big believer in finding and having a major, a student going in and knowing what they want to do. Some students don't know that, and that's okay too, but at least they know their strengths and weaknesses in certain areas. So if they're interested in sciences, you want to pick a school that has a good science department or good science programs. If they're interested in the humanities, it's the same type of thing. And then you might want to look for a larger school if a student really has no idea what they're looking for, because they'll have a lot of different academic opportunities for them. And then your main focus will be mostly on the location, where it is, how much it costs, how far it's from your home, and if that makes a difference. So there's other criteria that you can kind of think about if you're not too sure about a major.
Okay. All right. So I've gone through high school and I've graduated. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, or maybe I want to go to college, but my grades are not up to par to maybe go to one of the Ivy League schools or something else, and I may have to go to a community college before I go to a university.
Right.
What would you say to those students who may be feeling deterred because they have to start out at a community college before they can be able to go to one of the four-year colleges because of their grades?
Right. That's where they have to go, because the work that they did in high school didn't allow them or didn't give them the opportunity to go to maybe a four-year school. And that's a conversation that parents definitely need to have with their children. We told our kids, if you do well in high school, then you can go to a four-year school. If you cannot accomplish what you need to accomplish in high school, then you're going to a community college until you can pick up your grades to go to a four-year school. So I think that honest conversation needs to happen with the children to let them know, yeah, there's opportunities beyond that, but this is where you need to start at this point.
I feel that looking at the publicity and everything else that you've been doing for your book, and just recently you had a big book launching. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I had a book launching at the Barnes & Noble in Bay Shore. It was all my family was there, people from work were there, friends from high school were there.
A little celebrity power. Tell us about the celebrity power you had there. Yeah.
What celebrity power did that? Oh, are you talking about Run DMC? DMC,
yes.
Yeah, that was, we had a book fair. Man in the Mirror organized a book fair, and we had DMC actually, give us talk at the book fair as well. And I did later on after I had to follow him, which wasn't, it was nice because there was still a little bit of people there, but following him, he was a dynamic, really speaker, and he was talking about his, his book, his memoir, really. And so, yeah, we did have him, in the house, so that was nice.
Okay, can you tell us about your website and where people can go to find this wonderful book, and anything else that you would like anyone to know about the process, or if they may be out there feeling maybe a little bit leery and saying, how is this book different from everybody else? I see you're very, very hands-on, so.
Well, you can get the book at my website, which is verdeljones.com, and that's VERDEL Jones.com. There's a lot of resources also on my website as well. I have another website, DeliTeach, and that's DELITEACH.com. And there's several resources that are, some of the information is in the book, but it has information about NCAA. If you're a student athlete and you want to play a sport, it has information about that. It has information about financial aid as well. So that's really the resource. The DeliTeach is the resource. The Verdell Jones website, you can get my book there too. It also has information about me hosting. I host a TV show and a radio show, and you can see past episodes of that as well. So I would encourage you to do that, and I would definitely encourage you to buy the book, because the information that you'll get in the book contains checklists and timelines, and even if you don't read this book from cover to cover, it will give you the knowledge to ask your counselor. I encourage information, and when you're talking to the counselor, the school counselor, you'll know exactly what to ask them, because you know the timelines. You know what they should be doing at any given time. So the book really goes into detail about that, and it really goes into how you can get to know your child to set them up for success and ultimately get them into the college of their choice.
Thank you so much. But I just want to also touch on the financial part of it, because you mentioned financial aid, which is a huge thing in getting your child into college. What if I don't have the finances to be able to do the things, or we didn't get that academic scholarship, or my child is not good at sports? How do I get my child into college when finances are low? Right.
The finance is a major piece of the process. But there are things in place to help you get the funding that you need to go to college. And you have to be aware of what that is. You have to know that you need to fill out the FAFSA form to get money to go to college. Sometimes it might be loans that you have to get, but that could be a sacrifice. But these are the things that you have to do. Planning early. That's why we talk about elementary students. And saving for college. There's 529 plans that people can take advantage of that actually you put money into this plan and it grows over time, and you use that specifically for college. So there are things that you can put in place. There's scholarships. A lot of scholarships are unclaimed because people do not apply for them. There's great websites that I put in the book that can
Wow.
actually help you look for scholarships. There's a lot of people out there also that can help you with the scholarship search. But one of the most important things or the important resources is your guidance counselor. I always talk about how you should build a relationship with your guidance counselor because they are the holders of a lot of information. And if they don't know you, they can't tell you about it. So they always get scholarships in their office, and those are the people that you need to reach out to. There's scholarships that are specific to different schools that you might want to go to and different areas of interest. So there's a lot of money on the table, and people just don't apply for these scholarships. So scholarships are so important.
So you're saying the guidance counselors are your best friend.
They are your best friend.
Okay.
You need to get in ninth grade. I recommend that the student goes in and introduces themselves to the guidance counselor. I also have a list of questions that you can ask your guidance counselor, excuse me, when you go in to meet them. So you're just not saying hello, you're asking informed questions as well.
Okay. All right. The book is called The Parent Agent, and you can go to
VerdelJones.com.
Okay, I implore you to get this book, and if you have kids, you want to start out as young as, you want to go to 8th grade, you want to start them out, this is a very good guide, and I would like for everybody to go, and please purchase this book. When you purchase this book, tag me in it. Take a picture and send it to me and let me know that you got it. This right here will be one of the best investments next to financial that you can do for your child when it comes to going to college. You also need to be educated. I want to thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Got a little tickle in my
We
throat.
don't want you to-
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to go to break. Thank you so much for coming by.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
for
All
coming.
right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, we're on a break, and now we're going to get ready. Thank you so much for coming out. being counted down in 5. Hello and welcome back to the Veleda Spellman Show. I want to definitely thank Veleda Jones for coming on and speaking about her new book and how to get your child to college and the different keys to success financially and emotionally on how to get them ready. So I just definitely want to thank her for coming on. My next segment, we're going to speak on something that's very close to my heart, and it is also very prevalent in today's world among our young people, and it's having an effect globally on society. The subject of gun violence has touched my home. It has touched your home. And those of you who are watching live or that will watch this segment, it may have touched you as well. My guest that was supposed to be on is going to be appearing at a later date, but isn't it something that I was able to get somebody else who is or has been affected by gun violence? What type of world that we live in that someone had some unforeseen circumstances and could not make it, but I knew somebody else who had been affected by gun violence. And that's something in today's society where that many people have been affected, where you can just basically reach your arm out and touch somebody, and that person has been affected in some way, shape, or form due to gun violence. I want to welcome my staff member for Positive Queens, the lovely Miss Lakeisha Wilson. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you for the invite. Appreciate it very much so.
I definitely appreciate you being here and taking time out of your schedule to speak on such a very touchy subject.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to start out by saying this subject of gun violence, if you're sitting there and you're sitting in your homes and you may feel that, oh, it's happening in her family, or oh, it's happening in his family, I could sit here and I can say that it's happening in all of our families. It has happened in my home, and I have experienced some things due to gun violence, and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to speak about it. I have to say something about it. It needs to be said on all platforms. It also needs to be addressed that no one's home is safe from it, whether you are the victim of it or just just experienced it. No one is safe. In today's society, we have a lot of kids out there that maybe feel that is the way to handle their problems, or in retaliation for some things that may have happened to them, they may have an ill pill towards society. I'm seeing a lot of women, single women, burying their kids. Their lives are being stunted at their youth. I'm seeing a lot of minority children's life being snuffed out at the bud because of this gun violence. Right. I also need to say that a lot of these crimes that are taking place due to gun violence are with illegal handguns that are being brought over to here, and maybe an eye is being closed and heads are being turned as these guns are being trickled down and funneled within our own communities. And a lot of our kids are using them against themselves. I'm going to say that there are a lot more illegal guns in our culture, in our community, maybe than pens and pencils. You can never say what won't happen to your family. You can never say what your child won't do. A lot of us are fooled. We say what our kids won't do, or we say what won't happen to our kids. Right. What do you think is the biggest myth that there is about the community and about us as mothers or single parents with this issue of gun violence?
Well, I feel that, one, it definitely takes a community to raise a child. And somewhere down the line, we lost that. We lost that. I mean, it became very selfish. You know, it all became my child, my home, your problem, not mine. And you know, that's where the discommunication happened. And within that, we lost a generation. The generation alone, the babies, have been lost because I remember growing up. If I was down the road doing something wrong, by the time I got home, my grandmother knew.
Yeah, you're right.
Because Miss Bethia was on it. Miss Korea had her word from it. And by the time I go home, come on in here. So the community chastised, and we was molded. We were grounded. There was a foundation there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can remember that as well, coming up, and you do something, and you think you got away with it, but before you got home, the neighbors knew, everybody knew, and the society or the community as a whole just like stuck together, unlike it is today.
Right.
Can you please tell everybody how gun violence has touched your life personally?
Well, that is a very touchy subject, and I am so glad and pleased to be here on that because I know my family is not the only one. I lost my 15-year-old brother to gun violence in our hometown. He was coming home from a community night out with the council people, and the whole town was there. And he got into an altercation in some reason or some way. The car left him, circled back around, and just began to spray bullets at him and everyone else that was with him. He was not the only one who was shot. Many bullets hit other children, but thank God they're still here to talk about it. Unfortunately, it went into my brother's back and it ricocheted out of his chest, and it took his life. So, and these were kids that my brother grew up with, called them friends. You know, as I said, it's a community thing, but some way, somehow down the line, it got lost.
Now, you're saying he came from a community event, something
Yes.
that was meant to be peaceful, something that was
Absolutely.
meant for the kids, and he wound up losing his life,
Yes.
coming. Just give him a little bit more boost in life.
Actually, that is correct.
Legislatively, how do you feel that they're handling this problem of gun violence? Do you feel that they're on top of it? Do you feel that they lost track of it? Do you feel like they dropped the ball? Where do you feel that society has a responsibility in this? Or do you feel like they haven't at all? Do you feel like, okay, well, it's up to that parent, and if the parent didn't raise the kid the way they're supposed to raise, it's that parent's fault? What do you say to that?
Well, one, the parent does a job in their home. There are several ways that a child is raised: in the home, in school, and in the community with their friends. Understand? And when they're in the community with their friends and they're going to different friends' households, everybody's household is different. School, you have teachers teaching you a different way. You come home, it may equal out to be the same. It may be different. Some kids say, okay, some parents are hard. My parent is too hard for me. Then they'll go to their other friend's house, and they see they have a little leeway. They talk to their parents disrespectfully, and then they try to bring that home. Within the school, it's a learning environment, but once I leave school, I'm with my friends. As far as legislating issues go, I believe personally that they definitely dropped the ball. Most definitely. We fought and we got the shot spotter in Bellport. Recently I read an ad that they're trying to take that away. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? If there's an issue within the system that is not working, then we need to better that system. We don't need to remove that from the community if there was some form of safety from it.
Right.
If there was some kind of leadway from it, we keep that and we make it better. We don't take it away, especially when you see that violence is growing more.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we add more to the community, we help more. We don't delete because there's a malfunction somewhere along the line. If we want to make it better, we have to make it better, and yes, we have to make it better together. If we're voting these people in, they should most definitely do their best continually, as long as they're on board. to do their best for the community to make the community better than what it is. Not leave it at its natural state or worsen it, but better it.
It's so important. When something like that strikes, or at the moment that you hear about those things happening, you maybe build up bitter feelings toward the person or persons that was responsible for the killing of your brother. What would you say to that, as opposed to when you first heard about it, as to your attitude about it now?
That's excellent. Excellent question. When I first got whim of my brother passing was from my grandmother. And she called me, and just the tone of her voice automatically let me know something was wrong. And when I went to the hospital to see my brother laying there, and, you know, I tried to use scripture on him and ask him to rise, you know, if you want to live, pick up your bed and walk. And, you know, and just praying over him. But as I looked at him, I heard, you know, just look. And my brother lay there peacefully. He just got shot, but there was no sign of blood anywhere. There was no blood. He was wearing a white T-shirt. Still to this day, I can't explain that to you. His T-shirt was white, and he was just laying there peacefully, as if he was saying, sis, I'm good. But when I went home and I started going through my grandmother's house and I went to my brother's room, it hit me. He's no longer coming back. And that brought in such a anger in me to where I wanted to retaliate. I really did. I really did, because he's my mother's only son.
Wow.
My mother's only son. And you took him from her. So now me being the oldest, the firstborn, of course I have to help my mom, be strong for my mom, but at the same time there's so much anger boiling in me. But thank God, the kids started coming to the house giving condolences to Doug. We had no idea who a Doug was. My brother's name was Alvin Brothers Jr., but they were giving condolences to Doug. So I asked them, why are you calling him Doug? Oh, because he looks like the Doug cartoon character on the comics.
Okay.
And he does, you know. He really, really did. So my family and I took it upon ourselves, instead of retaliating, and we seen that these kids were ready to retaliate. They had some thoughts and things on their minds that they wanted to do. But we took it in consideration, like, one child's life has already been taken. We don't want the responsibility of another life being taken. So our family took that name Doug and gave it meaning, determination of unified generations. And from that, we brought T-shirts. We put them on these kids because I'm 41 years old. And all my life, I have not ever one time saw signs in the community of Bellport for a community meeting. Never. I've never seen that. But the morning of my brother's demise, there's signs everywhere. Wow. So we went and we bought T-shirts, and we gave them to his friends and to the other children in the community. And we were like, there's a meeting, and we need to go there. Are you willing to walk with us? And they were more than willing. We gave them out shirts. We marched the streets of Bellport to the community meeting, which said from, I believe, 2 to 5 o'clock p.m. By the time we got there, I believe it was like 3 o'clock. They were already wrapping up. They were already packing up, and the meeting was over. And we got there, and I'm like, why is the meeting over? We're here for the meeting. And they said, well, nobody showed, but we're here.
That's right.
We're here. We may have not came when you started it, but we're here. Oh, well, it's too late. We're already packing up. And at the time, I had no idea who I was speaking to, no idea. I said, listen to me. I need you to look at these kids in back of me. If we are to turn around right now, I am not responsible for what they are going to do. They are ready to retaliate. And if you don't listen to them today, that's going to be on your hands. She then said to me, hold on for a second. She walked away. She came back with another group. I had no idea who I was in the presence of at the time. All I cared about was the children. Because, as I said, the thoughts and the ideas that they had to do because of my brother's passing, I couldn't have that on my hands.
Retaliation.
Absolutely. My God, what they had planned. And then all of a sudden she came back. It was Kate Browning, Connie Keppert, Brian Foley. And I'm like, I had no idea who they were. So they took the group of kids and they put these tables together. and they asked him, okay, what is it you want to do and see in your community? They gave them ideas. And I saw them gradually happen, but not all came to an end, but it was a start. But again, the ball dropped somewhere.
Wow, that's a pretty powerful story, and that the kids were ready to retaliate, and that your brother meant so much for them, to them, and that you have something instated, and that you did a march and everything. I just want to say there's going to be another part to this. I'm going to do another part to this show, because you cannot just wrap up or just talk about this issue of gun violence in a short amount of time.
So much more.
I, too, was affected by that. My son also was shot in the back, but he, thank God he lived.
Thank God.
I just want to say to the young people out there, whether it's my kids, whether it's your kids or whoever kids, using a weapon for any type of reason, or having a weapon in your possession for any type of reason, is not a reason. There's other ways to handle things. I am going to stand strong and stand firm on this issue of gun violence, because back in my time, I guess we get it on and then it was over with, or we get it on and we get it on again. We never thought about going to get a weapon, and when you get to the point that you want to take somebody's life, or you get that angry to where you want to take somebody's life, something needs to be said.
Absolutely.
Something needs to be said. Somebody has to stand somewhere.
Absolutely.
And if I got to stand, and I got to stand here, and I got maybe some members over my family here, but I know that I'm standing for this gun violence thing, and I know I'm right. That's why I got to stand.
That's right.
And if you really want to stand, you're going to stand with
That's
me.
right.
I'm your mother. I may be your aunt, whomever I may be to you. But I have to stand here.
Absolutely.
I have to stand, because it's just that strong. There's so many kids' lives that are being taken, and unless we as mothers, we stand in our own households against our own children, or against our own families or friends or whomever it may be, if we don't stand, and we got to stand strong on this,
Absolutely.
this is going to run rampant, larger than any disease, wiping out our families and our communities as it's doing today. I want to thank everybody from joining in on this live feed. Thank you for tuning into the Veleda Spellman Show. Thank you, Lakeisha Wilson, for sharing your brother's life, his legacy, what his family, his friends meant to him. As I said earlier, I need to have you back on this show. We need to talk about this. We need to get knowledge to our kids. We need to get knowledge to other people's kids. We need to bring back the old times when you could say something to somebody else's child without them snapping on you, or without them doing this, or without them doing that. There were some things that were taking place that might have prevented me from doing this show. And I had to stand strong, and I had to really stand strong on that thing. I said, hey, this is what you're built for. This is why you're here. You need to talk about it no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what storm you're facing. Somebody may have lost their child. You still got to stand. You still got to get out there. You still got to have a voice. Because if you don't have a voice, that means you remain silent while everything that's going on around you is taking place.
Absolutely.
Don't ever think that it's just going to happen in your household, in my household, or the neighbor's household. It's happening in everybody's household.
That's right.
Unless we stand strong as a community and be there for one another, and we're not pointing fingers, well, this one did this and that one, and say, hey, what can I do?
That's right. That's right.
Where can I do? Or how I can do? It's never going to stop. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. And for those of you tuning in live, my live feed, thank you so much. I guess we're getting ready to close now. We're being counted down. But I'm going to stay live with y'all, and I'm going to talk for a little bit longer. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night.